Now, how is it that you had such diametrically opposed areas of interest, chemistry and divinity?
Well, I wanted to be a doctor. In the little town in which I lived, Dr. Isom Wilson was the family doctor, and he had a large house and his own tennis courts. And I guess at that early age, I was seduced by the things in America, and he was the wealthiest man in town, and I wanted to do well, so I figured to be a doctor, you know, that was the thing to do. And I started out my first year in college with the aim of being a doctor. I remember one of my professors, Mrs. Ruby Brinkley, I had to write a 1 or 2 page essay on what I planned to do and why. And I talked about in that paper so I could make money, and she too, no. She bawled me out, said, service is the key. And I never shall forget, I felt embarrassed at that point before the whole class. But she was right. Service is the key.
What changed you from that determination that you were going to, you know, become a rich doctor to becoming a minister?
Well, I met during my college career Samuel DeWitt Proctor, who was the recent minister of the Abyssinian Baptist Church in New York. He was the first minister that I met who wore a set of coat and pants that didn't match. My image of a minister was always a dark suit and a somber tie and a white shirt. And he was my ethics professor my senior year in college. He'd just come down from Boston and had earned his PhD. And he had a great sense of humor and was down to earth, you know. And I think the ethics course that I took under him kind of turned me around. In fact, by the time I was a senior in college, I had become so educated, I had become, I'm trying to think of the name. I'm up in age, you know, things leave me. I had become an agnostic. And Sam Proctor, more than anybody else, restored my personal faith in God. And I think that turned me around. And since he was a minister different from all that I had seen or met, I decided I would go into seminary. I began to feel this urge for the ministry, and I saw the ministry as the best tool to fight against discrimination and prejudice of the South. So those two things and Sam Proctor led me into the ministry.
What about your father and the example that he had set in terms of the ministry?
Well, my father was a very severe and stern man. I remember at the dinner table, the children were not to speak or play. And he was carving, I guess, a roast beef or something. And I began to joke with my brother, one of my brothers. And I remember him giving me the back of his hand so swift that he hit me and kept right on carving the meat. And my head went into the wall and left an impression. And I grew up in a home which never saw a paper on Sunday. You were not to handle any money other than what you were giving to the church. You were not to speak loud. You might go for a walk around the block. And don't mention the words cards or dance in my home. You know, it was a very Puritan type existence. And, you know, I didn't want to be that kind of minister. I wanted to be like Sam Proctor, you know, wearing a sport coat and a pair of pants that didn't match. And I think that helped to lead me into the ministry.